In the last few days, Pope Leo and Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth have expressed diametrically opposed stances on the exercise of military might. Although closer examination suggests, rather, that their dispute reveals a fundamental disagreement concerning the character of God. Spoiler alert, I agree with the Pope. Hegseth's rhetoric lately has been exorbitantly bellicose, belligerent, and bloodthirsty. I'll cite just a few examples. I'm quoting, "If you threaten Americans anywhere on this earth, we will hunt you down without apology and without hesitation, and we will kill you." Hegseth called for, quote, "overwhelming violence of action against those who deserve no mercy." After quoting Psalm 144 from a podium in the Pentagon, he prayed, quote, "let justice be executed swiftly and without remorse, that evil may be driven back and wicked souls delivered to the eternal damnation prepared for them." Pope Leo rejects this martial Christianity. I'll quote him. "This is our God, Jesus, King of Peace, who rejects war, whom no one can use to justify war. He does not listen to the prayers of those who wage war, but rejects them," he told worshippers at Vatican Square. He also quoted Isaiah 1:15. "Even though you make many prayers, I will not listen. Your hands are full of blood," and called attention to Jesus' rebuke of an unnamed disciple when he said, "Those who live by the sword die by the sword." Matthew 26:25. Adding to the Pope's reading of Scripture as a rebuttal of Hegseth's hateful hunger to do harm, I note the contradiction between vengefulness and Jesus' teaching that one should love one's enemies and pray for those who persecute one, Matthew 5:44. In contrast to the characterization of enemies as those who deserve no mercy, I ask whether by definition one can deserve mercy, and whether Hegseth understands the good news that God shows love for us in that while we were yet sinners, enemies, Christ died for us, Romans 5:8. In horrified reaction to a prayer that rejoices in the prospect of dispatching someone to eternal damnation, I call attention to the Bible's abundant witness that God, and I'm quoting 2 Peter 3:9, does not wish that any should perish. Close quote. Hegseth appealed to Psalm 144, which one could describe as a King David the Victor psalm, may offer some insight into how his thinking diverges from faithfully following Jesus, the King of Peace. Hegseth has fallen prey to the very same temptation that Jesus faced and overcame. The temptation posed by the pursuit and exercise of coercive power. Tellingly, the voice heard at Jesus' baptism quoted Psalm 2:7, another of the King David the Victor psalms. This psalm goes on to promise its addressee that God will enable him to, quote, break the nations with a rod of iron and dash them to pieces like a potter's vessel. But the voice at the baptism breaks off the psalm quotation and adds, instead, a citation from Isaiah 42:1, one of Isaiah's so-called suffering servant songs. At Jesus' baptism, then, he already confronted two possible courses. He could conquer by force, or he could redeem through suffering servants. In the wilderness immediately following the baptism, Jesus wrestled with a choice, definitively rejecting dominion over, quote, all the kingdoms of the world, Matthew 4:10 in parallels, as the satanic option. In some, Pope Leo is right. Jesus did not model and does not call for us to be vengeful, vile, vindictively violent. Happy Easter.